Sir William CO.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity. When I look at the Minister of Social Development and her associate, very good-looking ministers, and I like them. But I'm reminded of what the people of Manukau say to Cam Calder when he's out and about. Cam Calder, of course, is retiring, one of 16 national MPs leaving the ship. And when they see Cam, the people of Manukau always says, Cam, you're such a nice guy. You're such a nice guy. But we hate your party because you represent a party that is just heartless when it comes to dealing with people down and under. Look, Mr. Speaker, I look at this report here, the regulatory impact statement, and I tell you what, as a responsible member of the opposition, the intent of the bill is an intent that most people would support. No one in their right mind agrees that fraud is a good thing. No one in their right mind agrees that fraud is a good thing. In fact, anyone who commits fraud, whether it be in the benefit system or whether it be in our tax system, should be pursued and should face the law. But here's the difference of how we would do things, sir. While this party here is intent on politicising this and beating people into hardship, beating people who are on the benefit, beating people who do not have jobs, beating people who are earning the unemployment benefit because they cannot job, beating people who are single parents, beating people who are on the sickness benefit or who are on the disability benefit. While they are content to do that sort of thing, sir, we are not. Labour Party will not do that because there is a way of dealing with these things, and you've got to implement a culture that recognises that these people have rights that ought to be protected, international rights which are protected on an international arena, and this government is taking New Zealand in a very, very different direction. Let me just take you through a few things and make some responses as I go. The two most common ways people fraudulently claim a benefit according to the regulatory impact statement are: one, failing to declare employment and wages received, often by continuing on benefit after starting work. So what is missing here, as much as we want people to be in jobs, when people who are down on their luck for one reason or another have been earning an income, they actually need to be supported through the transition period. That's not what's happening here. If you're wanting people to get into jobs, we've got to pay them a decent standard of living, a decent living wage. That's exactly right, my colleague Marianne. That's the government. That's a very good start, my colleague Marianne Street says. The second reason, failing to declare a relationship, particularly if the relationship starts or resumes while at least one partner is receiving a single sole parent rate of benefit. The direction this government is taking does not recognise the complexity of relationships. It will be interesting for the public to know just how many relationships are in and out of the doors of this building, sir. Do you get my meaning? Mr. Speaker, this government doesn't recognise the complexity of relationships and the hardships that many solo parents go through, particularly single mothers who have young children to fend for. You saw yesterday, sir, how the Duchess of York walked out of the plane clutching the baby George, Prince George, trying to fix her hair, sir. She left everything else to the wind. Do you know what I mean, sir? Because her priority was baby George. The priority of single parents are their children, sir. They're not going to worry about trying to call up WINS and letting them know about the circumstances they're facing. And many of those circumstances, sir, are private affairs, which they don't want to convey to a government department that is just plain heartless, because that's the culture, sir, that has been, Mr. Speaker.
Sir William Seo.
Because that's the culture, sir, that has been injected by this government into our system of support for those who are needy. Here's another statement. Other ways people fraudulently claim a benefit include incorrectly claiming the wrong number or type of dependents, claiming multiple benefits. Sir, in the community that I live in, we speak 100 different languages. I can't remember how many languages, but there are 160 different ethnic groups in that community. Their first languages are not English. Sir, this department under this government does not seem to recognise, sir, that in New Zealand Aotearoa of 2014, first languages are not English. And they need to recognise that miscommunication, language difficulties is a significant barrier when you're following a form that is in big English languages, and they do not recognise that, sir. While the true extent of fraud that Ministry of Social Development does not detect is impossible to quantify, I give you some cases that the regulatory import statement says. 10,735 cases were investigated, resulting in 2,139 cases of overpayment. Out of that 2,139 cases of overpayment, 714 cases were prosecuted. Now, here's a picture, sir. They are painting every person on a benefit as if they were criminals, based on the 10,700 cases investigated, 2,000 cases found to overpaid, 714 cases prosecuted. Sir, that is lousy politics here. This is a political stunt, and I know why the community hate this party, this national government, because they are heartless and they continue to beat them down when all they are asking for is decent jobs, higher salaries, to be respected and treated with dignity and respect. And like I said, sir, I like the minister. She's young, she's beautiful, but the community, sir, they don't like her politics. She has become the face of this government, and most people thought she was going to be a nice person that would recognise the hardships, but she's pulled up the ladder, sir, of the support that she once got. She's denying every other single parent that kind of support that our state has a responsibility to provide. So, sir, I want to say to her and the minister who's ushering this bill through, he said earlier, this is about fairness, sir. It isn't. Yes, it should have been about fairness, but this is really about benefit bashing. And shame on this government. Shame on this government for consistently doing this. Every time polls are going down on their side, and it has been trending for quite some time, sir, they whip up some emotion from their supporters by pointing the finger at the most vulnerable of our communities. And all I can say, sir, is shame on that minister, shame on the minister that's ushering this bill through, sir, shame on that government. And I think Tauhenare is doing the right thing along with 16 other national MPs. They are abandoning this government. They are abandoning this government because, as a Westie, he doesn't want to associate himself with a government that is heartless and doesn't care about the hardship and how hard it is for those who are unemployed, receiving a benefit. I see you shaking your heads. Those who are single parents, who are doing it tough to support their children and young people. Those who are sick, who are needing care, health care, and require support through our social security system. Those who are disabled. Those of our young people who are unable to get jobs, educational training, and the widows. Those are the people, sir, that have been lumped together by the way that this government is treating beneficiaries. And I say, sir, we will show this government what we think of them come September 20th, 2014.
Sanati Loli Taylor. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair.